Start the stream. Don't like this. Don't like this.
It's fine, Sarah. It looks good.
I know. You know where you're just like, if it was just like.
Yep, I know what you mean.
You just want to spray.
Just do the show and profile.
You could. Let's try it.
Do the entire show like that.
It could be a milestone.
Sure.
We'll turn
Why
towards
not?
the camera if we get to this one.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
Black Friday is about relaxing.
That's right.
That's what it is.
I was getting all stressed trying to pick a hat earlier, and I was like, you know what? That's not the spirit of Hat Friday. And so I just went and got one of my more comfortable hats. I'm like, I'm just wearing that.
Right. Yeah. I am also wearing my most comfortable hat.
There you go.
What if we just wore like bathrobes for the show? Would that be awkward?
Go for it, Roger.
Yeah. Do you kick us off?
Do I do the suit coat over the bathrobe then?
Why not? If that'd be kitschy or funny or,
Hefnery.
I don't like my bathrobe.
Yeah, my bathrobe's old. I bought it at Target in 1988.
Whoa, dude!
My bathrobe is that it's like that kind of material that's super plush and soft, and you think like, oh, this is the best. It doesn't breathe like terry robe would.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always too hot. So I'm like, I don't like wearing this.
Mine used to be softer. It's old now.
You would think as it gets older, it gets softer.
No, it just gets thinner. It's like threadbare.
That's how you know you're a real robe wearer.
Yeah.
Is that related to a brown bear?
No, this is the bathrobe I bought when I went to college. My sister took me shopping for stuff.
Tom, that's amazing. Gosh, no wonder it's threadbare.
I'm very thrifty that way. This is something Roger and I have in common.
Yes. Frugal, I think, is the polite term.
Sure. Okay, you guys ready?
Yep.
Here we go. Daily Tech News Show is powered by you. To find out all the ways to support the show, head to dailytechnewsshow.com/support. This is the Daily Tech News for Friday, December 8th, 2017 from DTNS headquarters in Los Angeles. I'm Tom Merritt.
And from Studio Feline, I'm Sarah Lane.
And from Sailor Snubs Studio, I am Shannon Morse.
Sailor Snubs, I like that. Roger Chang with us as well, deep in the DTNS production basement. It's not a basement.
No, in the east wing of our production, production region.
Facility, yeah.
The east wing of our map. There was one.
Yes. Let's start with a few tech things you should know.
Pardon me. Amazon Echo and the Amazon Music Unlimited service launched in 28 more countries Friday across South America and Europe. Amazon Music Unlimited is available on its own and works on iOS, Android, the web, Fire TV, PCs, and Macs.
KGI Securities' Ming-Chi Kuo told investors in his most recent note that he believes Apple will bring the iPhone X's L-shaped battery design in a larger size to 6.5-inch and 5.8-inch OLED iPhones next year. Kuo also believes a 6.1-inch LCD phone will come with a regular rectangular battery.
iPhone X, huh? You're one of those.
Yeah, I'm one of those. Deal with it.
That's fine. It's fine. I'm not judging. Just
I'm an Androider, okay?
Just something to. You're not the only one, Shannon.
Yeah, no.
You're not the only one.
The Weekly Standard has joined Facebook's fact-checking initiative, as well as joining the Pointer International Fact-Checking Network. Facebook's fact-checking system, if you remember, adds labels to news items found to be false by members of its fact-checking partnership. Now, let's move on to some top stories, starting with you, Shannon. Nvidia. Woo!
Yeah. Nvidia announced the Titan V video card for machine learning. The Titan V features 110 teraflops, 9 times that of the Titan X. Titan V will also get access to the Nvidia GPU cloud containers with optimized versions of popular machine learning development frameworks. The Titan V is available today for $2,999, $3,000.
Probably pick it up. None of those.
Yeah, totally.
But they're not meant for me. They're meant for like serious machine learning. Some people use these for Bitcoin
stuff.
mining too. Yeah.
Yeah, Bitcoin mining would be great.
And it's a big advance. It's funny to think that when Nvidia first started making these kinds of cards, it was like, wow, Nvidia really changing tactics, getting serious about, high level machine learning and business uses. Now it's just run of the mill. It's de rigueur. This is, Nvidia is the people who make your video game necessary gaming card, but also these kinds of chips that are essential for artificial intelligence, machine learning, etc.
Sources tell Bloomberg that YouTube plans to launch a paid music service called Remix in March. The sources say that Warner Music has already signed on, and talks are underway with Sony, Universal, and Merlin. Google introduced Google Play Music in 2011, then YouTube Music Key in 2014, which became part of YouTube Red in 2016.
Which,
I'm
by the way,
starting to lose track of all the YouTube paid offerings.
I am too. Yeah, I've seen so many from them. I'm like, okay.
If you're a Google Play Music subscriber like me, you then got access to YouTube Red as part of your Google Play Music subscription. So I'm wondering, is this Remix service going to be the same way, or is it going to be entirely
further
separate?
Standalone? Maybe if for some reason, I wonder. The whole idea of YouTube Red, I felt like was this initially. Right?
Yes, right.
It was the premium YouTube with actual partners that of networks that people know and would watch on TV. But perhaps this is some less bundled into Google Play Music offering that they feel a lot of people might want to buy.
One would assume that they struck deals with the labels for Google Play Music.
That's the thing.
And then apparently struck them again for YouTube Music Key. And now are striking them a third time. But maybe what I'm hoping is that maybe what they're doing is consolidating and saying, you know what, we're going to take Google Play Music, we're going to take Music Key, and we're going to put it in this new thing called Remix. That would make sense. Call it Remix because you're remixing all of your services and simplify it. Because I really like Google Play Music. And as long as they don't lose those main features that I like one of them is being able to store my own MP3s that I get from like little indie places that just aren't available from Spotify and Apple Music. I'm going to be cool with that. So either, I guess, don't get rid of it or make it better.
I mean, this is pretty nitpicky, but the word remix to me, especially when you think of YouTube, sounds sort of like, oh, I can mash up videos and create something. It's it's kind of a funny name, but if it is actually YouTube saying we remixed all of our paid offerings into this better one with more partners than ever, then maybe it makes more sense.
It just makes me hear someone yelling
remix. Me too. Like scratching the record a few times.
Yeah. Sources tell Reuters that Didi Chuxing, the ride-hailing service that is very popular in China, they bought Uber's service there, plans to offer its ride-hailing service in Mexico next year. This would be its first operation outside China. Something I've been keeping an eye on is when are these big Chinese companies going to successfully make a move outside of their home territories? Some are more successful than others at this, but nobody's really gone whole hog, other than, say, Lenovo and Huawei, maybe. So this would be one that's not a cell phone maker. Didi officials met with ProMexico, a government trade and investment organization, last month. Mexico City is Uber's third largest market after Sao Paulo and Rio. And Cabify is the other big ride-hailing service there, operating in 7 Mexican cities.
Mexico City, and I think we were asking
Yeah.
just the other day. That's a huge city. If you're gonna run a ride hailing service, it's certainly going to cover a lot of ground there. Sao Paulo and Rio would be 2 other examples of huge cities where there's a lot of potential for growth.
I could easily see Didi move into Brazil next after, let's say they try it in Mexico, it works out. They are partners with Uber in China still, even though they bought Uber's service. There's still a residual partnership there. So it would be interesting how that plays out when they're direct competitors in this market. Because I think if you have I don't want to say that because I'm not sure, but I know there's some relationship still going on in China.
It's good to see this competition in the international market, especially if you're a visitor going to those international markets and maybe Lyft or Uber isn't necessarily available. It's nice to have other ones available too.
Yeah.
So moving on, 9 to 5 Mac says a HomeKit vulnerability in iOS 11.2 was shown to them, which would allow unauthorized access. Apple has rolled out a server-side fix that disables remote access to shared users. An update to iOS 11.2 is coming next week that will restore full functionality. The vulnerability only exists in iOS 11.2, not the earlier versions. So other than the information here in the news, we don't really know exactly how this vulnerability works, but that's not surprising given that the update is now rolling out. So we'll probably find out more about it once the fix is rolled out. And I'm very curious myself as to what exactly or how exactly this vulnerability works.
Yeah. I mean, taking what we do
iOS
know,
is really on a roll, aren't they?
Yeah, no kidding.
Apology. We just talked about Apple's. We were saying, wow, Apple had a very rare apology, and then they patched this fix. It was last week. This time it's like, well, we'll get to it next week. And then there was that other texting issue that I had trouble with. It's like every week it's something new.
I think there's some things we can glean from this too. If they disable remote access to shared users, it would make you think that the vulnerability is somehow an ability to get in and spoof yourself as a shared user.
Right.
If you know certain things about someone's iCloud account, like maybe just email address, you might not even have to hack into it. Because that's a pretty severe thing to say, you know what, we're just disabling shared users, because that's one of the features of having smart locks is like, oh, I can delegate this to my kids and my friends. So
it could also be however the shared users, whatever protocol it's using to transmit that information from point A, point 2. So yeah, I'm just curious. I want to know more. I like to know all the details about these security vulnerabilities.
Me too.
Well, speaking of access, last month, Google told Android developers they had 30 days to explain how an app that they put together using the accessibility APIs was actually helping a user with disabilities and not something else like hooking into the operating system without a good reason. And Google said they can't do that. They're going to be removed from the Play Store. There was a big public outcry, a lot of backlash from app developers who say, well, hold on a second. This isn't necessarily for somebody with a specific accessibility need, but it's also not hurting anybody. So Google now says it is pausing its original decision for another 30 days while it considers, quote, responsible and innovative uses of accessibility services.
Man, this is becoming a theme in technology, right? The idea that companies have to make judgment decisions over the uses of their technology. We're most familiar about this with Twitter and Facebook and posting of news or posting of controversial videos. But here again, somebody's saying, well, hold on. You may not think this is helpful to people with accessibility needs, but you're missing something, or it's not harmful, and it could be helpful to lots of different people.
Sure. There was an example of, for example, a battery app, which uses hooking into the APIs to be able to shut down other apps that are, hogging up the your personal device, right? So it's about it's local stuff that you're doing for yourself, right? If you want a very good performing phone and this app helps, who are you really hurting? So I get it.
In this case with the accessibility APIs, I believe LastPass, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe LastPass was another one of these applications that was using that accessibility API. And they said that they were working with Google to come up with a fix for this issue, since they were going to drop any apps that don't necessarily help with disability problems. So maybe LastPass is one of the reasons why they are pausing it. It would make sense.
I think what LastPass does is it uses the API to populate password fields.
Right, it does the autofill.
So it's like, again, it's like, well, if it's convenient for me, just kind of sucks to roll that back again because it's a personal thing.
The counter argument is that's not what that API is for. We are not developing it to be secure for that usage. So if you're using it that way and you break something or a vulnerability crops up, that's not something we're paying attention to because we're designing it for this use, and that could cause problems.
So what maybe Google might want to do is be like, okay, accessibility is one thing, and then we'll just like duplicate that, call it something else, and then we just monitor that whole part of the app world in some other way.
There's accessibility and cool accessibility.
Right. and pro-life. Well, no, that's really bad.
I think that means something else.
That professional life. I don't know.
Yeah, gotcha.
Come back to me on that one.
All right, we'll workshop that one a little more. Hey, folks, if you want to get all the tech headlines each day in about 5 minutes, be sure to subscribe to dailytechheadlines.com. We put it out every day for you, so you have a fast way to stay up to date. You can get it as a podcast on the Amazon Echo, as a flash briefing, newly available in Canada. You can also get it on the Google Home through the Anchor app, and you can get it on the Anchor app at anchor.fm. And that's a look at our top stories. Okay, so we're going to revisit a story that we've touched on before, but Shannon's got some good insight into what people are saying in the community about this. You may recall that Uber announced or revealed recently that they had been breached last year by a 20-year-old from Florida. The breach happened in October 2016. The names and driver license numbers of 600,000 drivers were exposed. U.S. drivers, particularly. Personal info of about 57 million riders was exposed, like name, email address, phone, not credit card info, not travel info, but still. The Floridian who was accused of the breach paid a second person for services that involved accessing GitHub to obtain credentials for access to Uber data. Wasn't hacking GitHub. GitHub didn't suffer a breach itself. It was just stuff that was posted there, and this guy paid that person to find it. Uber then allegedly paid this Floridian $100,000 through their bug bounty program and got him to agree to destroy the data, according to Reuters, and supposedly sign an NDA saying he wouldn't tell anybody about it. In the Reuters story, the attacker is said to be living with his mom in a small home trying to pay the bills. One source said Uber didn't want to prosecute an individual who did not appear to pose a further threat. So they didn't want to make a big deal about it. Travis Kalanick allegedly knew of this payment and this breach, but it is unclear who authorized the actual payment, whether it was him or somebody else. Well, November 21st, new Uber CEO Dara Khosrowshahi revealed this, saying none of it should have happened and, quote, "I will not make excuses for it." Because, Shannon, it's the law. They have to report this stuff.
Right, exactly. And there's two major parts about the Uber story that have been floating around in the InfoSec community for the past couple of weeks since this news story first broke. And a lot of people were making rumors and stuff, and the Reuters story itself has brought to light a lot more information. So with response to what the CEO said, you're right. It's definitely illegal to not disclose a hack in several different states across the United States. And I believe there are 5 different states who are putting in motions against Uber because it is illegal to not disclose this information within a given time frame. And I believe those different states have different time frames for them to release that data. For example, California's is like 60 or 90 days, something around there, that you have to disclose a hack before you end up getting sued for not disclosing it. So it's illegal in the first place, but it also puts the people who are users and the people that are drivers in harm's way for a longer period of time because they don't know that that hack happened. So how do they know to protect themselves any more than they are already doing?
Yeah, they have a right to know that it happened. Now, I get what Uber was trying to do. This is classic pre-Khosrowshahi Uber, which is like, oh, dude, it's just a guy in Florida. He's sorry. He's not going to do it again. Let's not ruin his life. We're Uber. We can get away with anything. So we'll just shuttle it through the bug bounty system. Then it's not a breach because anytime someone finds a bug, they may expose themselves to personal information like this as part of the breach, but they report it responsibly as a breach and say, I didn't copy the data. I destroyed any data that may have made it to me. And that's what they, after the fact, sort of made it look like happened.
Which is so not what happened.
Yeah.
No, that's not what happened at all. And we should make clear that responsible disclosure when it comes to hacks and when it comes to vulnerability assessments and finding these things with companies means that you are responsibly going to the company and saying, hey, this information is public. It's out there. Like anybody can access it. You should probably lock this down. They don't before they contact the company. They don't copy that to their own computer and then go, hey, by the way, this stuff is on your computer.
Right.
You should lock it down. Like, there's no reason for somebody to do that if they are responsibly disclosing it and they want to go through the bug bounty process. So what Uber did by going through HackerOne, which is the bug bounty company that helps distribute bug bounty money to all these different vulnerability assessors and security researchers, I feel like it's so immoral from an information security professional standpoint. It's very immoral for Uber to do that as a company, because if I was like a bad guy hacker, I would look at that and be like, ooh, I could do that too. Right. I wonder if I could make $100,000 by saying it's a bug bounty when it's not actually a bug bounty.
The line about, Uber not wanting to ruin this poor man's life, living in a small house with his mother, it rings very hollow to me as well. It's like, listen, Uber, it's not that it's ever okay for security breaches to happen, but it's not as if Uber would be the first really big company with a lot of money and a lot of power in the last couple of years to be embarrassed by something like this, right? So that on its, at face value that's one issue, but the whole kind of cover up about it, and then to be like, well, we just didn't want to prosecute this poor person. That's such horsepucky. It's like it's an anonymous source, right? So we don't exactly know where that came from, but that's like such a typical spin of Uber being like, no, we're friendly. We just didn't. We wanted to be cool, but it's like, no, they didn't want to be embarrassed.
All right, Colonel Potter, with your horsepucky.
I feel the same way. And I should say, I don't have
time. I changed it from a different word.
I feel the same way that Sarah does. We don't have factual evidence saying like, oh yeah, they didn't want to release this, so they're just wiping their hands and then telling them that, he's got to sign this NDA. But if he did in fact sign the NDA, and if they did in fact go through the forensic analysis and decide to keep it quiet by not prosecuting him, that just means that they were trying to keep it quiet for a year, and then eventually the news came out and broke. So we all know about it, which makes it so much worse that they waited so long.
Here, let me walk down this road a little bit with some assumptions. Let's assume he's a poor young child who needs the money and take care of his sick grandma. I'm gonna make his mother sick. Let's make it super sympathetic, right? That doesn't matter. He was able to access this data. And yeah, okay, Uber came in and made him delete it all, right? That doesn't matter.
Right.
It was there for him to access. Who else could have also accessed that didn't tell Uber about it is the question. That's why you disclose these things, not because the guy with the sick mother, she's not sick. I don't know. I don't even know if he has a mother. It's not because he was able to access it. It's because it was accessible.
Yes.
That the fact that he did it means someone else could have done it. And you need to know that, like, hey, we don't know. We think we got rid of it all, but we don't know for sure. So you should be aware of this.
I think this is a great learning experience for other companies, because they'll look at Uber, who of course Uber has tons of money. They'll be able to deal with all the court costs for all the different states and everything. And I'm sure they're going to be sued in whatever courts it might end up being. But other companies should look at this and consider the fact that it makes your customer relations so negative from the pure fact that they can't trust you. And when it comes to security and privacy, especially after this year's development of, IoT devices being insecure and everything with Equifax and all those different things, customers are paying a lot more attention, and Uber is not paying attention to their customers when it comes to that.
Yeah. And it sucks for Derek Ozrashahi, because he's the new guy who's like, hey, guess what? I found this. I'm going to try to do the right thing and tell regulators, even though I know it's all going to blow back in my face and in the face of the company that I'm operating. And it should. They should be taken to court. It's though it's not his fault, it is the company's fault. And that's the way it works.
Yeah, it is. That's why they have lawyers.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And like you say, this is immoral, and it should not be seen as a precedent in any way for people to think, go through the bug bounty program. That's what the bug bounty program is for. Do it responsibly.
That's the thing. That's the best part of this. It's like, that's why there's a program, so that companies can benefit from the intelligence of people outside their organizations that can be like, hey, let me help you put a little Band-Aid on this issue you got going on. And the whole kind of like under the table part of it is just like, Uber, cut it out. Yeah. Haven't you learned it?
a lot of those bug bounty programs only pay a few $1,000s for these kind of vulnerabilities. And this hacker basically held it for ransom and got $100,000 to keep it quiet. It was basically silencing money. Yeah. So he got a lot more money for doing something that is immoral and illegal, as opposed to going through the correct motions of the bug bounty and getting a few $1,000s as opposed to $100,000. And one of my biggest worries here is that other hackers are going to see this and do the same thing. And I really don't want them to. I want more people to be involved with the correct vulnerability disclosures that you're supposed to do with companies.
Yeah. And we could argue with maybe the bug bounty should be higher or not, but that's the issue here is the company shouldn't respond in the way that Uber responds.
Right, exactly.
Well, we can, I can think of similarities with lots of other things where issues being settled out of court happens. Oftentimes public is none the wiser, and then we all find out about it later and it looks really bad.
At least that follows the legal process in those cases, but you're right, it's not that much different. Hey, thanks to everybody who participates in our subreddit. You can submit stories and vote on them at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com and talk about stuff on our Facebook group as well, facebook.com/groups/dailytechnewsshow. What's in the mailbag there, Sarah?
Well, we've it's been an interesting week for a lot of us, and we've had so much feedback about Patreon changes and just the show in general and what people like and don't like and all that good stuff. We just got a really warm and fuzzy email from Chris, who says he's a proud patron of DTNS, and I thought we could all use a little holiday cheer. So Chris says, regarding the Patreon changes, I know there's still uncertainty and confusion. I really appreciate you letting us know what's going on. Usually the people who are upset or angry, especially on the internet, are the ones who reach out. So I thought it was a good excuse for me to tell you some of the things I appreciate about your show. Daily show that gives me a lot of interesting, informative content to listen to as I do various mundane tasks in life. Love it. Keeping me informed about various tech things going on in the world. Love it. An ensemble cast who are able to respectfully disagree, thank you, Chris, for saying so, with each other, but actually have real discussions about complex issues that they might not have single or complete solutions. This is one of my favorite things about the show, says Chris. He says the variety of random discussions pre and post show, like that too. And then he also kind of gives Tom a special shout out and says Tom's ability to argue whatever point is contrary to what someone else is saying is actually my favorite thing about the show. Chris believes you have a gift, Tom. And
do I though? Do I?
Yeah, he says just
I'd argue that
nice things about us and says that, he listens to the show every day. And I will say, Chris, that it's true. A lot of times people who have issues or criticism or negative feedback are often the loudest, or can seem that way when you're soliciting feedback from folks. And it was very nice of you to point out the things that you like about the show, and we appreciate it and hope other people feel the same way.
Yeah, he just raised his Patreon pledge because he says, I'm in a financial position to do so, and I know the current changes will be costing you some supporters. So we really appreciate that, Chris. Also, he said, Tom's ability, compulsion to argue? Yes. Probably.
Right. Yeah. It's like, is it a skill or is it something that you maybe need to rein in, Tom?
Yeah. And I'm not going to read this whole other. Yeah, probably sometimes.
For the record, I would say, I don't think that you're just like, and let me be the contrarian every time anyone says anything. But I do think that you go out of your way to try to, got to look at both sides.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I do go out. Never mind. I'm just kidding. Brandon from Idaho has a great email talking about credit card processing and the intricacies of it. If you're confused about stuff, you really should go read this. He used to work at an HOA. He said, I've researched and pitched payment systems to volunteer boards in the past, and most in my experience, when they see the fees involved, want nothing to do with it. And he talks about how communication strategy is really, one of the fundamental issues with this sort of thing. So, if you want to know a little bit more about that, go check out our show notes, dailytechnewsshow.com, read Brandon's email. Thank you, Shannon Morse, for joining us.
Thank you.
Shannon, where can people find out more about everything that you do online and elsewhere?
People can find me. I will pimp my tech thing. It's tekthing.com. We've been doing a lot of reviews lately, and we're going to be posting a bunch more videos throughout the month of December, gift guides, different places that you can go to make sure you get the best deal on products as you're buying things for the holidays. So definitely check it out over at tekthing.com, and we're also on Twitter, which is @techthing.
Now we are down, usually our goal every month is to have one more patron than last month. That ain't gonna happen in December because we've lost more than 100 folks because of the anger at Patreon over the fee. And we understand that. What we're trying to do is say, look, if you still want to support us, if you just don't want to support us anymore, that's a whole different situation, and that we understand. But if you still want to support our show, check out the fact that we have some fee compensation levels to make up the new fee. Or if you're at the $1 level and you're like, I'm kind of stuck, we have PayPal, we have Memberful, and we're looking at other options for folks. And you can find all of them at dailytechnewsshow.com/support. But we still think that, the best way for us to keep in touch with you is patreon.com/DTNS. And if you're like, I don't like any of those, check out our store. Or even if you like all of those, check out our store. It's still time to snag a holiday gift for that special someone or coworker. We got some hoodies. We got some Born Ready t-shirts. We got a mug. Go check it out at dailytechnewsshow.com/store.
Hoodies and mugs. What's not to like? Maybe we'll even offer bathrobes at some point in the future. To think about. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. We're live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 21:30 UTC at alphageekradio.com and diamondclub.tv. And our own URL is, can you guess? dailytechnewsshow.com.
Yes, you can join us again on Monday when Tom will not forget to start the music during Sarah's read. Will join us. We'll see you then.
What do you mean, my read?
I mean, the thing she makes up off the top of her head.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
I hope you have enjoyed this program.
Woohoo!
I don't know who created the wrap up, move on, and reset at the top. Was it you, Roger?
No, it was BioCow.
That was BioCow.
That's so cool.
Yeah. It's a
I
little
love
piece
that.
of scripty wizardry.
Yeah, I didn't even ask what it was. I just automatically was like, oh, okay, I get it. Cool.
I know what a small but helpful
Yeah.
addition to a spreadsheet.
I was doing it manually before, and you can do that, but it's like 10 times as many clicks.
Yeah.
To do the
Yeah,
one
this is
thing.
great. BioCow, you so cool.
He's so cool.
He's so cool.
He's a scripting wizard.
All right.
All right.
Show
Good
button.
show.
There's starting the top with remix. Tom has a gift first. Apple HomeKit, one more vulnerability. Ability in the eye of the beholder. Hack 101, always disclose your hacks. Uber's horse. Pucky. Oh, Pucky. Uber held for ransom by a bug bounty hunter. Just a guy in Florida.
Apple is finalizing a deal to acquire Shazam, the app that lets you identify songs, movies, and TV shows by audio. This, according to TechCrunch. Recode says the deal is reportedly worth $400 million.
I will say, considering that Shazam was one of the first apps where I was like, oh my gosh, the iPhone's magic, way back in the day, that Shazam's been around forever.
Mhm.
It still is magical to me.
Yeah,
I use it.
all the time.
I mean, not every day, but like often I'll be like in the grocery store, like, I don't know, I like this song. I have to know, you know?
I use it in there are two big use cases for Shazam for me. One is I'm watching a TV show and there's music that they're using in the show. And I'm like, ooh, what is that song? The other is I'm in a lift and whoever's driving has like their own music mix.
Something going on, yeah.
And, I could ask them, but sometimes I'm just like, what is that?
It's the magic of it. And it's gotten so much better too about filtering out what it considers like a conversation, you know, and knowing the difference. It used to be finicky. Like if you were sitting at a busy restaurant and there was music and somebody was talking, it would just get confused. I almost always get a result within 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Wow.
No matter how like ambiently loud it is otherwise.
And basically, you either get that result in 2 seconds or it just doesn't know the song. And that's pretty rare that it doesn't, but it happens sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
Have you ever
I
tried
don't know why
humming?
this is so exciting to me. But
Have you ever tried humming a song into Shazam to see if it figures it out?
I've tried. It didn't figure it out.
Sound-
I've tried with
Soundhound.
mixed results.
SoundHound was the app that would do that.
Oh.
It wasn't great at it.
All right. BioCow is cool. That is true. Hide your hack for a mere $100,000. Bathrobe Friday. What do we got? Remix. Uber has a $100,000 problem and a hack is one. Hide your hack. Hack 101. Always disclose your hacks. Apple HomeKit. One more vulnerability. Just a guy in Florida. I would have thought there would have been more Florida man something. Isn't that like
I think that one's spent. That one's old.
Is it not showbot.tv?
Yeah,
Yep.
showbot.tv.
Why isn't it
But-
loading?
Well, it's not going to be for long because BioCow is making a showbot that'll work for multiple places. So it'll eventually be, I think, DTNS.showbot.tv. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think one of my extensions is blocking it from running.
So what do you guys think title-wise?
Oh, BioCow says go to irc.showbot.tv. Or DTNS.showbot.tv. Either one of those works.
Sorry.
No, I accidentally clicked. You guys decide on the title. I'm
Weird.
busy.
I say
It's not loading for me.
Not even DTNS.showbot.tv.
Let me try an incognito mode.
incognito.
Oh man, I have to do this whole thing again.
How do I not have Sketch downloaded?
Strange.
Title. I need a title.
Uber has a $100,000 problem and a hack is one. Or Apple HomeKit, one more vulnerability. Or Hack 101, always disclose your hacks. I like Hack 101, always disclose your hacks.
Yeah, I like that one too.
That's a good one. We have consensus.
I'm so messed up right now. I'm writing the names of the people on the show. Sarah Lane, Tom Merritt, Roger Moore, Shannon Morse.
Roger Moore. Well, you know, I've been
I just
mistaken
don't know why
for
he didn't say anything. He just sat there the whole show.
I think I was thinking Shannon Morse already, like in my head. That's why I did that. But
Roger Moore.
Roger Moore.
Do do do
so sad we didn't
do.
get Roger Moore on the show.
Who was the oldest actor to play James Bond?
Really?
Yeah.
So Hack 101, always disclose your hacks. Is that what you guys decided on? All right.
Yes.
Thank you. That. Yeah, I forgot to make the blog post ahead of time, which always makes it a little bit of a scramble.
Are y'all seeing any fires down there?
I've seen the
Furball
smoke.
fire was fairly close to me,
Mhm.
but that one's well under control now. The other ones are a lot farther north from me. You've got one near you, Roger, but that one seems like it's starting to get under control now too.
I see the smoke, but I don't actually see the flames, unlike the ones in the summer where I actually saw the hill with fire on it.
The Thomas fire up in Ventura is the really bad one.
Yeah.
That one's threatening Carpinteria right now.
Is that next to Santa Clarita?
It's near Ojai in Ventura County.
Oh, hi.
Oh,
Let's see. Oh,
hi.
see. Oh well.
Oh, crap. I thought this was easier. Sketch.
What are you doing?
Well, all I wanted to do was, it's if you want to do something extremely simple that doesn't require Photoshop, like put two images together and then just save that as an image.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Sketch would be my best course of action, but like I haven't really opened this in a while, and it can be a little confusing to me.
A lot of times when I open those things, they need updates before I can even use them.
Well, I actually didn't even have it downloaded on this Mac, which is weird because it should have. I mean, I've had it for years, but whatever. Open an image.
Fleepflorp.com goes to Showbot, apparently.
Just because.
But that's because BioCat changed his hosts file. So you could also change your host file to take fleepflorp.com.
Fleepflorp.
Fun with your hosts file on the next Daily Tech News Show.
Can we do that on the screensavers and
Oh yeah, we did host file stuff. I remember I messed with some host files on my machine at Tech TV because of that segment. I think because I was editing the article or something.
I remember messing with spies on the set, and that was not good.
Oh, good. The jackhammer's back.
Ah,
Good.
I don't know if you guys can hear it. It's my old pal, Jack.
Can't hear it.
Hey, Jack.
it's a Jacques Hammer.
Yes, he's French.
No, the Family Guy one. And no, monsieur, this is a Jacques Hammer.
Oh yeah, I don't know that.
It does the. I shouldn't do it because Patrick Beja told me it was offensive. So.
No, he is French.
Is that an offensive thing?
We asked him once, and he said, "Yeah, kind of," because French. There's nothing, remotely close to that sound or enunciation that they do.
It's like
Wow, that's
if
a
you
huge
see
fire.
an American, every time you see them going, "Y'all got my guns, yeah, Yankee, Yankee."
I like that.
Wow.
You know what's funny is I didn't really think it was funny until you did the Yankee Yankee
It's
portion.
like, who's that?
And then I
Who's that
laughed
American?
because that's funny. Yankee Yankee.
It was the Yankee, Yankee that really took it.
Yeah, that's really what did it. I think it's
W. Scott is one's like, "Could you do that again?" No, I don't think I could. Almost swallowed my gum.
My kitties are all passed out right now. So cute.
Mine too.
Little tired babies.
Where are they tired from?
I don't know. Well, I do know. Starbuck was up at 4 a.m. in my bedroom going, "Meow," and I was just like, really?
Whoa.
4 o'clock in the morning? Yeah,
What was
just
that
like
about?
that. Meow, meow. It's like, why? No reason. Like, you get out of bed and then she's just like goes in circles and starts purring. And I'm like, okay, well, kicking you out of
Dang,
bed.
that was possession.
Bored.
Such a jerk.
Entertain
She's
me.
such a jerk.
You know what? If you're so bored, why don't you go get a job?
Jerk
Oh
cat.
my gosh, I know. Like, no helping with rent. Demanding food. Like, I'm the only one who cooks ever. It's a really unfair situation with my cats. But there's nothing cuter than how happy they are after they've like bugged me for half an hour and I finally get out of bed in the morning and they're like, "Party!
Yep.
Happy Friday! Let's eat!" Just like a very fun hour for everybody.
Yeah. Our dogs are the same way. Ray will now just sit there. I'll open my eyes in the morning and Ray will just be sitting there staring like,
Oh yeah, no,
like, how long
I
have you been like that?
I feel the heat of the cat eyes. Like, even when my eyes are closed, it's like I know when they're just there. And the thing is that they're so good at like, if they see your eyes flutter, it's over. You can't just be like, "Nope, I'm going back to sleep." They know better.
And then once I actually get up, Dance
like,
Party USA, they're all like, "Woo."
Yay. It's really cute though. It's actually motivating.
It is. Makes me smile.
Well, with a dog, at least a good-sized dog, you can strap him to a harness and have him tow your sled.
What?
I'm just trying to think of a job that a cat could do. I guess rodent patrol would be one. You have too many songbirds in your area, you let the cats loose.
Yeah, that's what my grandma used to prohibit the cats in her neighborhood from doing. She's like, don't you kill my songbirds. Cats didn't.
How would she prohibit the cat? Would she like...
I mean, it didn't really work. I'm just saying she would try.
Shake her finger at them vigorously?
She would tell the neighbor boy not to shoot the songbirds with his BB rifle either. That worked better. Nothing better than a jackhammer, though. That's all I gotta say. Hey, if you are not a patron, get ready for a DTNS Labs tomorrow. If you're a patron, you already have it. Everything you need to know about loot boxes with Patrick Beja and Scott Johnson. DTNS Labs games coming in your feed tomorrow. Tomorrow. Then go to the store and buy a hoodie. Maybe. You know, there's somebody in your life that would want a DTNS hoodie, right? Back me up here.
Yes.
Trying to make
once
a pitch.
those license plate holders start coming down in.
I'm telling you, hoodies. Who doesn't like a hoodie?
Right? That's what I'm saying.
In fact,
Hoodie.
if I could complain about living in a nice, warm, temperate climate, which I can, because I complain about anything, it's that because half the year it's like too hot for hoodies, but a hoodie is so nice.
Too hot for
Feels
hoodies.
good. You kind of got the hood like a little pillow. In fact,
I
I'd
love
wear
having a hoodie
every day if I didn't look like I was in pajamas, which I would.
DTNS grills.
DTNS grills. Yeah, right. Kind of
Sure.
like something understated.
We'll talk to Dave. What's the possibility to get DTNS grills in the store?
This is an interesting fact, just because we were talking about things in here. Did you know that if you get a tattoo right here,
right where? Hold on.
It's like at the inside your lip.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Which is the thing that people do. That it is semi-permanent.
Oh, really? Huh.
It's like because of the mucous membrane or whatever.
Like you have to just get rid of the whole lip, otherwise.
It just goes away. And I know this because a friend of mine, who's a little nutso, she had pizza tattoo, and she showed me, and I was like, oh my gosh, why did you do that? And she was like, oh, don't worry, it'll be gone in like a year. And it was.
What? That's so weird.
Oh wait, you said it's never permanent.
Semi-permanent.
It's meaning it goes away.
Oh, I thought you meant it never goes away. That's why it was.
Usually a tattoo would never go away, but this is a tattoo that can. So you can do something that's like.
Got it.
Like a tattoo that says pizza.
I totally misunderstood that. Yeah.
But you would need to have your lips hanging out like a horse for people to see it all the time.
No, it's just a party trick where you're like, look at this. I tattooed pizza on my face.
What do you want? What do you want to eat? Pizza.
See,
right. And everyone's like,
that's so weird.
It's actually pretty funny.
Can people just go back to juggling or yo-yo tricks?
What do you mean go back to? There's no reason you have to choose. Get your pizza tattoo and do juggling.
Well, I'm going to go get some work done.
I'm going to go get some pizza and juggle it.
Yeah, I need to eat lunch. I should probably do that.
Pizza juggling.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you Monday.
Happy weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.